Hi, guys. It's another Friday. Welcome. We are super excited today to be joined by Dr. Stem. And we are excited to hear about her journey coming to the US and getting to where she is today. Hi, Dr. Stem.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for
Hi,
having me here today.
And thank you
thank
for
you for
being here.
coming.
So we will start at the beginning. Tell us what year you came to the US, what state you came to, what your goals were when you came.
Yes, thank you. I came to the United States in 1985. I am here for 41 years.
Wow.
And I was in Rapid City, South Dakota, in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
in Rapid City. But, if you're living in Rapid City, South Dakota, it's no longer a nowhere. When I
Yeah.
came 41 years ago, it was in the middle of nowhere because I didn't know anyone. But my uncle, Reverend Sanganza, is the one that was here in the United States and helped me to find a place to go to college. And he was able to get me a place at National College in Rapid City, South Dakota. So
Oh,
I actually was staying in the basement of a church when I came because I didn't have, money for, staying on the dorms or anything.
mm,
So I did that, and then my parents were able to get some money for me to stay in the dorms, and I stayed in the dorms at National College.
mm,
Probably for a year, I think, because after a year, I contacted a friend of mine who was in the Boston area, and she was like, "What are you doing over there?" I said, I don't know, you know. So I got on the bus, and I can't tell you how many hours it was, but it was
oh, I can
one of
imagine.
one of the longest bus rides.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and came to Boston. So it's 41 years of being in America. I will have to ask you guys to ask me questions and stuff
Yeah.
because otherwise
Hmm.
the whole thing I could be talking and telling you stories.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So
it's
Yes.
a, yeah.
where did you move from? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
no,
Yes,
that's
I'm
okay. No, that's part of it.
or all of a sudden now because I'm a podcaster myself and I'm all over social media. So my assumption is people have seen me and they've heard all about me. They know I'm from Zimbabwe.
It's okay. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
from Zimbabwe.
Yeah. And
Okay.
what did you study when you got here?
So when I came here to do computer science because in
Mm.
those days in Zimbabwe, what? If you had a computer degree, you could have a job and you could make money. So then
Mm,
I came to Boston and I was working as a nurse's aide in a nursing home.
mm,
So when I transferred from National College, I started, going to school at Lowell in Lowell, at the UMass Lowell. So I
mm,
was taking, computer science. But as I was in the nursing home, one of the patients that, was brought to the nursing home, I actually went outside. As Africans, what we do, you see somebody crying and someone carrying
mm.
bags and they're trying to bring their mother in. I ran outside in the parking lot and I said, "Ma'am, can I help you, to the daughter who was pushing her to bring her into the nursing home?"
Mm,
That lady, the mother became my patient,
mm,
in the nursing home. And she started talking to me. She's like, "So what did you come to America to do?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing computer science." She says, "No. That's not what you're supposed to do." And
oh,
I'm like, "What am I supposed to do?" She says, "Honey, you're supposed to be a social worker because the way
oh,
that you came outside, took care of me, you
oh,
continue calling." I would call the daughter and I said, "I don't have your mother assigned to me today, but I checked on her and she's doing fine." Because then I knew that the daughter was, having a hard time having left her mother there because that mother was not quiet. She's like, "I took care of you and you're going to leave me in a nursing home? Is this how you pay me?" Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So, so I would call
oh,
her and say, "Ma'am, I just want you to know that your mom is okay."
oh,
I talked to her and she's okay. And when I had my cell phone, as well in the room, I would give the mom the cell phone. I said, "Here, talk to your
oh,
mom." And I was just doing that, knowing that if it was me on there, I would want
mhm,
somebody nice to take care of my mother, but to also let me know, how she's
Mm.
doing so that I don't have to deal with the guilt.
Mm.
That mother is the one that helped me change my career. She said, nope,
Mm.
you are not a social worker. You're not a computer science person. You are a social worker. So I say to her, to be honest with you, ma'am, social workers in my country don't make
Make
money.
money.
They tell people how many children to have and what birth control pills to take. That's not what I'm cut out to do.
They're
And she
controlling the population.
what? So I said I wouldn't have left Zimbabwe to come to America and not make money so that I could tell people how many children to have. She says, "Oh my God, you don't even know and understand.
Mhm.
Social
Mm.
workers in this country do a lot." And she says, "Do you know the lady that always wears suits and she wears heels that's in here?" I say, "Oh, I see her. What does she do?" She says, "That's a social worker." I said, "She's a social worker?" She says,
Mm.
"Yeah." I said, "You have no idea how much I have looked at that lady and said, you know what? I want to wear those suits and the heels, but the attitude that she has when she comes in, you need to clean this room. That person is deceased. You need to make sure that you put the clothes in together in there." And she's
Mhm.
just rough with us and we're just like nothing to her. So
Mhm.
her attitude made me not look at the job, in a
Yeah.
serious way. I told her, she says, "That's a social worker." And I
Mm.
said, if I become a social worker, I am going to be the best social worker ever. I want to be personable with people,
Mm.
all around, whether you're a nurse's aide or you are the nurse or you're the director or you are the patient or the
Mhm.
patient's, family that's coming in. I want to treat people as people. And she
Yeah.
says, that's the reason why I want you to be a social worker, because you are a social worker. So from that conversation, I went to the school advisor and I asked them if I could switch, my career. And he said to me, I was going to ask you to switch into sociology or social work as well,
Oh,
because
wow.
you're not, yep. And he
Yeah.
said, because you are not cut out to be a computer person. There's something humanly about you that I
Oh,
know you do
wow.
well working with people. And
That's
I
awesome.
went, to school and got my bachelor's, in social work. But when
Awesome.
I was now looking to go into the master's, degree, I asked that social worker in the nursing home what schools to go to, and she says, "Well, the school that I went to, I don't think it takes, I mean, a lot of people with no experience, because you just have been here as an SSH, so you don't have experience. You might want to go to this school and that school there, because then they take people without experience." I
Mhm.
said, "But where did you go to
Where did you go?
school?" She
Mhm.
said, "Well, I went to Boston University, but I mean, I'm just letting you know how strict, and stringent they are." And I'll tell you, ladies, I am a believer. I'm a Christian,
Mhm.
and I said, if God could open that door for you, He
Mhm.
can open that door for me as well. That's what I
Mm.
Yeah.
say to myself. But I want to tell the lady, the lady that was advising me, and she says, "So why are you smiling?" I said, "Remember how you were asking me what school to go to?" She's like, "Did you find out from the lady?" Because I told her I was going to find out.
Mhm.
I said, "She did everything to discourage me from
From
knowing
applying.
and going to her school. But guess where I'm going to be going to?" She says, "Where?" I said, "Boston
Cool.
University." She says, "You're going to
Yes.
apply?" I said, "Not only will I apply, but they will take me." I still
Mm.
have the letter today. And you know what? One of these days, I'm going to read it and put it on my YouTube, for people that will be following me. I'm going to, find that letter and read it.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wrote a heartfelt letter to
Mm.
them, saying, I know with all my heart that
Mhm.
I will be able to be there and stand in the gap for people as a social worker, because then I know that I have to work with people when they are down and out and they need somebody to be their strength, and I can be their strength. And I was like,
That's great.
how did I think about this? So not only did I get accepted, but on orientation day, they had people taking pictures, of all the students that were there, and they told us that if you want to make money, don't go into social work, because you
Mm.
won't get paid. It's not a career that gets paid. And they,
Mm.
somebody took a picture of me listening attentively and saying to myself, "Oh no, you're lying." Because I didn't come all the way from Zimbabwe not to make money. I'm gonna make money one way or the other, and I'll
Yeah.
also do the work that I'm doing, right? And
Mhm.
I became for the, next 2 years that I was at Boston University, I was on the cover of their, book that they give
Okay.
new students,
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
and they put me on the cover in there. And I went back to that nursing home. I was screaming
Oh.
when I first saw it, the catalog, the
Yeah.
catalog. And I
Uh-huh.
said, what? They put me on the catalog, which means for those of you that are listening and you're trying to figure out what is it that I want to do,
Mm,
it will be so clear and God ordained that you have no doubt that this is the work that I was born to do, that I was created to do, because
Mhm.
things will start just working out where now all of a sudden, not only am I accepted, but they put me on that book so that again, I can be an inspiration and encouragement to those that have been told no. Just
mm,
Mhm.
don't stand on that no. Because for
Exactly.
many of those no's, there is a door that will say yes, but it's only after you say yes.
To
When they are
yourself,
saying
yeah.
no and you say, oh no, I'm getting in there whether you like it or not, because it's not up to you. And God, if this is for me, open that door for me. But if it's not for me, then close it and open the right door that I'm supposed to go. You go
mm,
with that mindset and that openness, God will open the right door and you will know without a shadow of a doubt that I am in the right place.
Well, absolutely.
wow.
I love
That's
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
You really are
Just
a
a quick question.
natural.
Yes.
Mhm.
Just a quick question. So, did you get into nursing assistant because people told you to get into it? We talked about how sometimes when you get into a place, you do
Yeah.
what everybody else is doing. Was it your
In
case or
19
is it?
in yes, in 1985, it was almost as if there was no other job except to go and clean up people in the nursing home.
Mm,
Mm.
And that was the place that you go and you get paid, your $6.05. And I was
Wow.
talking to, I have five sisters. So once I came here, the first thing that I did was to do double shifts to pay for the ticket for my next sister to come. And then
mm.
she and I paid, double shifts for the next one to come until all seven siblings are here in America
Oh,
now.
wow.
Oh,
Five girls and
wow.
two boys, yes. So
Amazing.
I went in there to also have money to pay for rent, but that was the only job that I could work with a school work permit because I didn't
Mm,
have a work permit
Mhm.
to have a choice of other jobs. I could
Mhm.
only work in the school
Mhm.
or to get permit to work, in a place where the school would authorize. So I was authorized to work, 20 hours in the nursing home. And then if you want more, you would have to go and ask
That's
for, yeah, for those. So it was by, but I didn't have a choice to do
mm,
anything else. But then, as you see, right, I ended up
Somehow.
working with people. I
Hmm.
ended up meeting this angel of mine that says, wait, 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 wait. Don't go over the computers. Go for social work. I would not have done that if I didn't go that route to go and work in the nursing home, happily work in the nursing home. And I tell people today that, you know what, I'm not immune. Even though now I have a doctorate degree, I have, private practices and everything that I work in. I said, but I am not too good to go back and
Go
work in a
back.
nursing home if I have to work in a nursing home. So today I do speak, I go as a motivational speaker, I go into the nursing homes to motivate, encourage. When we're talking about stress, I make it a
Mhm.
point that I also encourage them that this is not the end all.
mm.
Don't think
Nice.
that the doors are closed in here. There are places that you can go, and there are opportunities that you can
Mhm.
also have, from here. But at the same time, there are certain people that are meant to work that job, do
Mhm.
it, with pride and joy, because it is a job that we will always, always need nursing assistants in the nursing homes to take care of our elderly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Yeah.
agree. You don't belong in a computer science class.
I know, right?
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. So it's always important because then when people come, to this country, we all come here for an education. And at that time in the 80s, it was as if we had no other choice except to make sure that we have a degree. That way we can get a job. But today you can come and have a 2-year degree, open up a business, and do something
Mhm.
else that you can do. So those are opportunities that are now readily available that were not available to us in
Mm.
the 80s. Yeah.
Before we jump into like your work experience and what you ended up doing, I just want to ask about the academics. So when you came in from your first college in South Dakota to the college in Boston, how did you find the academics? Was it challenging? How did it compare with what you were used to back home?
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that? You know how the journey behind is always behind, and then when you get to flourish. So thank you for that question. It's a great question. So when I came in, it really was a challenge, because I started, when I moved to Boston, I went to UMass Lowell, but I went there for 2 semesters, and the advisor said, "You're not doing well. Your teachers are saying that you're not doing well in class. So what we've decided to do is to take you into a community college where you can start at a slower pace and then get an associate degree, then come back here now when you get adjusted, to the system here, to the teachers here." My accent was even deeper at that, those days. And yes, we were British colonized, but then the English in American was different as well.
Different.
So yeah, so I needed that adjustment. And at that point, it was a failure, for me to go back and do the 2 years. At that point, I was embarrassed that, so now, I have to go all the way back to do a 2 year and then come back here. But then the time that I will lose, because now I won't be able to graduate with the class that I started with for 2 semesters. And it just seemed like I was the only one. I didn't know the other students, whether they, continued, or I was the only one that went back, because they call you one by one. But I went to do my associate degree in business administration, and it was the best thing ever that they did for me, because I was able to go a slower pace. I was able to take extra lessons, and I was a C student, and anyway, when I came to America, in high school back home, I was a jack on the fence C student. I wasn't smart, and the teachers used to say, "You, if you don't study, you're going to fall on the other side and fail, because everything is always average, average, average." So I didn't know. But when I went back, I found myself, and college is different. So if you're one person that used to get D's and E's and F's and whatever, you go to college, you're more focused. You're also, all grown and determined, right? Once you get in there, because I was paying. So what I would do is I would go to the nursing home during the day and go to school at night. But I was paying it now, because then it was a lot for my parents to continue sending American dollars. So I was paying myself, where I would pay 300 and something dollars for one credit. So if you're taking 3 credits, it was $1,000, right? So I would work to do the doubles and go to school at night. So that alone, and that's another thing that I work with parents of teenagers as well, to say, to give someone that, to say, "You want a car? You're gonna have to give me, $500, and I'll give you another 500. You get $1,000 car. Oh no, I want a 5,000. Okay, you give me 2,500. I'll give you 2,500. So that's where I was. Where now I was paying for it. I had to do well. I could not afford to fail, because then I didn't want to come up with another $1,000 to repeat the course
Of
that I had
course,
taken
yeah.
again. Yes. So by the time that I transferred to UMass Lowell, and then from UMass Lowell, I got my bachelor's degree, went to Boston University. Yes, I did get into Boston University. Went into Boston University, got my master's degree from Boston University. Yeah. And then my doctorate degree, I went to Nova Southeastern University in Florida, because I wanted the sun. I was
Yes.
tired of
For
Boston.
once.
I was tired of Boston.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing.
So I wanted to make a comment there. Those are
Sure.
the little nuggets that I like, right? You sometimes you've got to pause and realize you have the ability, and when you're put in a situation, you put your best foot forward, and you actually you're smart. It's just that back home things are different. You're
Yeah.
not whatever is happening, but I think we're all smart in our own ways.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that for people to understand that you don't give up just because you were told
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yes.
before. You
Yes.
can't give up.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
to be your own champion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You really do. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you're worthy, and you have to. I give this analogy when I'm working with people and they come in and they say, "Well, I had a hard childhood and my parents did this, and now they're 40 something years old and some, late 30s, 50 years old." And I said, here's what I learned a long time ago, and it's an analogy that I've used in the last, 20 something years that I've been in private practice doing mental health, counseling services. I said, your parents get to be chosen to be your parents. Mom gets pregnant and, dad is there, or maybe dad is not there with you, and mom raises you by herself, or grandmother raises you by themselves. Think of it as a relay, that you're running a relay. They start off with you and they walk with you, carry you on the back, and they're supporting you and they're carrying you. At some point, when you see a relay, they give the baton to the next person to run the relay. The problem, the difference is it's not even a problem. The difference is when you get the baton to say, now, this is your life, you get to run the rest of your life. You get to choose how the rest of your life is going to be. They can be there to support you, but there's no manual that is there that they had to follow. So once they give you the baton, you have a clean slate. The question is, what are you going to do with your life? And what choices do you have? Because every day you have choices that you get to make. You don't, get to blame them and, they look back and say they didn't give me this and they gave you the best that they
But they
could.
could, yeah.
And they're not gonna be the best of parents, that we can say 1000%. They have their faults, and I know people were abused, and I know people were, but at some point, if you are able to sit down with yourself, the question is, how do I want to live the rest of my life? What do I want to do with this one life? Because there's no retake, one life that we have. You can't come back and say, oh, I can redo my 16-year-old, my 30-year-old. One life that we have to live. And the question is, how are you going to live that one life? At 61 this year, I am so excited because now I get it. And it's so exciting that,
You look great.
oh,
Wow.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
God,
thank you. Yeah.
what?
Oh, yeah. I turned
I'm
60 last
thinking
year.
we are all age
Wow.
mates.
I
I know.
know.
Like,
Last
excuse me.
You look so good.
I
last
know.
year, thank you.
I
No,
thought I heard it wrong. I was like, what?
Me too. I was like, wait, huh?
no, at 61, I can now sit here and say to people, I have lived 61, I'm 60, I'll turn 61 on March 9th. I can now share with people experiences because I think the more information that we have, the more stories that we hear, the better choices that we will have. And just knowing that, you know what, if it's possible for this one year, I can do it, take my time, but then the journey is different of how you get there. The outcome also of your life is going to be different, but let it be the best life that you can have. It's all possible.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I love that.
awesome.
yeah,
That is amazing.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. And I
yeah.
like to tell people sometimes you're just not in the right environment,
That's it.
You really don't. Like, it's
Mm,
okay to move around and change and try different things and from different people,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So,
So one thing that we don't do, right,
mm,
is being able to say no and to leave people that no
yeah.
longer serve us. And
Mm.
I think, I mean, I let me say it for myself. I think it's the African in us that says, oh, you need to love one another and you all need to hang around another. Well, but then yes, it's great. And I'm a very personable person, respect and honor people. But my space and my environment, you won't get a lot that get to spend the time and they say they really, 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 really know me. I don't open those gates, to many people because then it depends. Everybody has, a reason and a season of being in my life. And now I've learned that it's okay to not be around certain people. And it's okay not to hang
Season
around.
is over.
But it's all good.
That
Yeah.
reminds me of it reminds me of the conversation we had with one of the guests,
Eddie,
when
yeah,
he had
yeah, yeah, he did
a
say
manager
that.
who told him,
Mm,
you should feel fortunate that you have this job because
mhm.
from where you've come from. And he quit that day.
That day, yeah. You
Oh,
have to know your worth.
wonderful. You
Hmm.
have to know your worth. I love it. I
Yeah.
just
He
love
quit
hearing these
that
things.
day.
The same day. Hmm.
Yeah.
Episode 19 on the podcast.
Oh, episode 19. Okay. I will. I was actually listening to some. I will listen to that. Good for him.
Mm,
Because then if you don't make the choice, and many a time, right, people that would have stayed are people that don't have personal and professional goals in their
yeah.
life. Because when you have those, am I being valued? And am I bringing value to this job? It goes both ways. If you're
Right.
in a job that is not giving you or bringing you value so you can grow in your profession, then, it's time to start looking around. And many people do not grow because of the people that are managing and supervising them, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
then they
absolutely.
prevent them from growing. And again, it's another assessment that one can do and look at your life. Do you have people that are helping you grow? And each year, what goals have you met at work? What goals have you met in your personal, professional, life?
Hmm.
Business, if you have a business, what goals have you met? Where do you want to go? Where am I going? That's always a good question,
Yeah.
to ask.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And before, let me just plug in this year, once I talk about work and business, because I also do corporate trainings. I'm a wellness trainer. I work with the employee assistance programs. So a
Mm,
lot of people do not use employee assistance
Uh-huh.
programs in their job. It's a
Hmm.
very, very good and helpful program. Right now, we have stress and burnout at a very high rate. High
Hmm.
rate. So employee assistance program, which is EAP, gives you free sessions for you to see people like myself and professionals that are in the mental health clinic. And it's a database that has thousands of therapists that you can choose from. So if you didn't know about it, go to your work tomorrow and say, what is EAP? Where can I get that number? They'll give you an 800 number. Call it right now. Many companies will have like 6 sessions or 20
Hmm.
sessions. I'm like, what? Because nobody's using them. So of course,
interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so go in there and just look in, they'll give you an 800 number, or you can go on site and go in and you can literally say, okay, I need a therapist who's a female, and I
Hmm.
need her to be 45 years old. She has to have children, and I want her married because I don't want to talk to a young person that doesn't. It's a database.
Mm,
And
Hmm.
then you see that person for one session, and your spirit and energy just don't. And you're like, I don't know. There's something about this lady or this man that I just don't like. Go back in the database or call back
mm,
that 800 number and say, I don't think, this is the right person for me. Can I get another name? And always ask for 2, 3 names. Can I get another name? Because if you have 6 sessions, you literally can explore with 6 different therapists
mm,
until you get to your person that you want
mm,
to work with. So I want to make sure that I let people know that, because it's a service that it's underutilized, and people say, well, I don't want since the job is paying, I don't want them to know.
It's
So
confidential.
I am contracted with probably 30, 40, EAPs, right? But I don't work for your job, and I don't
mm,
know, the managers and everything. What they do is the EAP will call and say there's a client that wants to see you, or they will give you my number and then you call me and then we make an appointment. So it's very, very confidential. But it
mm,
is in those places now that we can talk about how is it at work? What is going on? Are you growing? What are your goals? And you can now start mapping out, am I in the right fit job?
mm,
Is this the place for me? Am I getting paid enough money? Am I, doing this? So it's really a good benefit that is probably a good 20, $30,000 on top of your
of
salary
your
that you
salary.
have. So if you
Wow.
don't use it and you say, oh, they only pay me 30,000, no, they're paying you $60,000.
You're just not using the other 30.
You're not using
True.
the other 30. That's
True.
it.
True.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened after your master's. What did you get into? What kind of jobs were you doing?
So after I got my master's, you never believe. what happened when I was doing my master's in social work. One of the classes that I took in the first year was working with teenagers and parents. And I remember Dr. Joyce, who was our professor, saying, this is the most difficult population that you will ever work with. If you work with teenagers, it's very challenging, it's very difficult. And I thought, what am I doing in this class? And I don't know how I ended up taking that class anyway. I'm like, I don't want to do hard things. I want to do easy stuff. And she was like, nope, this one is not easy. This is the most challenging one. So once I enjoyed the first class. I enjoyed the first class because of two reasons. One was I was getting to understand how to support parents since quote unquote, she had said, oh, the teenagers, that's the most difficult part. So I'm thinking, if it's difficult for us professions, can you imagine a mother who's
Yeah.
unsupported and doesn't have anyone to help her, or a father that is unsupported, grandmother that is unsupported? Let me learn more about how to best support, them. But most of all, my joy and excitement. Remember how I said we don't get to redo our lives. We don't get to go back and have a second chance. And I say the things that I learned when I came to America at the, around age 30 or something, when I was in social work schools and doing my doctorate, I learned so many things that I would not have learned at home. And then I looked at my parents, I looked at, our community. I'm like, they don't have all this information that I'm learning now. But for the kids, if I had it and I knew what I knew today, I would have had so many choices and lived my, teenage years and be ambitious, but, do well in school and do, and just do what I needed to do, because now I had more information and I had direction. So I was more excited on knowing how I can help the young people have more choices, but have direction as to where they're going, rather than fight. You're fighting me, an old lady that didn't know what I didn't know and did the best that I can, child.
Right.
you know so I learned that, and then from there, once I graduated, I worked in school systems where I provided counseling services. I worked in agencies where I was also doing outreach work as a social worker in there, but that was too hard work for me. It was exhausting. I was exhausted, but I learned a lot. The reason why I decided to go for my doctorate is when I came to America, people used to say, "So what are you going to do?" I said, "I want to be a doctor." And they say, "Oh, what kind of doctor do you?" I don't care what kind of doctor I am. I
Yes, it's a
wanted D.
doctor.
I wanted DR before my
My
name.
name,
And
yes.
they're like, you want a DR before your name just to be doctor? I said, let me tell you
Yes.
something. Because being a doctor and having gone through the school and everything, when I walk through the door and they say, who are you? I say, I'm Dr. Stem. They don't see my blackness. They don't hear my accent. They don't see, because now I have value that I'm bringing in. Oh, she's a doctor. Come on in, doctor. And those days when I came in the 80s and 90s, I'm telling you, there is still value in the education today. But in those days, it was apparent that, yes, if you get your doctorate or your master's degrees, they will roll the red carpet and say, come on in, run our organization and do all of this. So I wanted to be a doctor because of that. The other reason I wanted to be a doctor is I wanted to be able to sign my own paycheck. I could not stand clocking in and clocking out. And then they tell me, okay, if you work 40 hours, then we'll give you $500. If you do 80 hours, I said, it cannot be for the rest of my days. What can I do? Yeah. So I wasn't in, and I apologized for years. And if anybody is going to watch this and you were one of my managers, supervisors in my younger days, I apologize. Because I wasn't an easy person to manage and supervise. And that's when you're made for more. I
Yeah, you
wasn't.
had your goal.
I questioned everything. I
Mhm.
questioned everything, because then if you're going to be my manager, you better know more than me. But now,
Exactly.
now I know better. If you're going into management or a leadership position, you don't have to know more than them. You just need to know how to manage and supervise and lead those that are more qualified than you or that are more talented than you, because then they put you up, right?
Mm.
So you don't have to know or anything, because then leadership qualities are totally different from the educational part of it. You have to know how to uplift, support, empower, and encourage those that are below you. And that's what makes you a great leader and not a manager. So that's another reason why I also went into business after I did that, because I knew I could not continue to butt heads with those that were in charge.
So I have a question for you then.
Yes.
How do you manage people like, I guess you that you are saying you were? How would you recommend to manage people like those then?
So managing people that like me, that were ambitious and wanted to do, things, acknowledging the fact that, because I would ask, and you can see that I'm going above and beyond, and you can see that, why is she always doing this? You can see that talent there. Assign them things where, let's say I have a team. I'm working, I'll go in the nursing home, right? I have a team of nurses aides, and I'm the nurse that is there. I am going to assign a person like me an assignment where you are the lead nursing assistant. And as a lead nursing assistant, I need you to help with the assignments of other, assistants that are there, nursing assistants. When they come in on the shift, you be the one to say, okay, you're doing room 456 and you're doing room 678. I need you to be the one that, help out with that. And then, so once you give me that, I feel like I'm a leader already, because I'm in a leadership position, but I'm also reporting to you. But then at the same time, it releases my manager from having all of this work. Delegation is great, but you can
Mm.
see the talent of those that are talented. The more you utilize them, the more they feel valued, the more they also want to come in and share what they
Mm.
know and their talents that they have as well. So yes, I'm manageable, but you've got to use me rather than just, continue to micromanage
Yeah.
that. For a person that is
Yeah.
ambitious, determined, micromanaging is really the death of them.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
soul
Did you do
crushing.
this right?
I
Did you
cannot.
do this, and did you do that, and did you do
Oh,
this?
I cannot.
No.
That's the day I'm done. I'm like, I
I know.
cannot. I cannot be
That's the day I quit
micromanaging.
immediately.
No,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. But then
Yeah.
speak up, because
Yeah.
then any person that is in a leadership or management position is just like any of us ladies that are here, right? So being put in those positions does not qualify us to know each and every individual that is working under us. So it's
Mhm.
very important to have those conversations when, you can talk to your manager, maybe weekly meetings or monthly meetings. But if they don't, you ask for a meeting and you say, may I talk to you? I just want to have a meeting with you. I just wanted to share with you, how I learn better. Because I
Mm.
know you like to, give us, orders and tell us how to do this here. Is there any way that you can write it down also, so that I can, because that's how I get to do better. Also,
Mm.
if you do things this way, to me, I'm prone to doing much better and work much better if I'm asked in this way, if I'm told in this way. But this strain and just push and pull, or also checking on me every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, I can't function that way. So, but I just
Mm.
wanted to know if it's possible to work with us. Get ready for them to feel like you're challenging them, because now I'm the leader. Well, how are you going to tell me what to do? Do not give up, because then, many a time people will change, I mean, with time, but then adjust to working with you in the
Mm.
way that, you like to be managed, or work best. Because then I want the results. So I want us to make sure that we are successful in the business. So I want to
Mhm.
learn about how, everyone that works with me, how can I better manage you, and how can I better give you instructions, so that what we can do our best and improve every year on the work that we are doing.
Mm. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Important.
Mhm.
What was the name of the doctorate program again that you did?
Oh,
So mine is an educational EDD.
Mm.
What is that?
It doctorate of education, right? I know. So it's a doctorate in education, but I mastered in organizational leadership because then I
Mm,
like to work with corporate. So it's in EDD, but it's not in education because you can get in EDD and go in education and teach and be a
Mhm.
professor and everything. But I wanted to stay in the corporate world. So I
mm,
did mine in organizational leadership. That's what brought me into doing employee assistance programs because
mm,
I teach leadership, trainings in organization. I teach wellness trainings where we do burnout prevention, stress management to small and big businesses, and we talk to employees, about how to do take care of themselves, self-care.
mm.
How
Yes.
long did that last, that program?
So yeah, so I did the 2 years. I'll go through. I did
Mm,
the 2 years for the associate degree, and then
mm,
I went and did another 2 years. Now I transferred those credits, and I
mm,
went and did another 2 years for the bachelor's degree. The
mm,
master's degree was 2 years, and then
mm.
5 years for the doctorate degree.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Mm.
I
Say
know.
what now?
I but it was worth it because look at
The
this. At
DR.
61, I forgot all those assessments that I couldn't I for, I couldn't sleep. I would spread books on the floor and you're crying and you're like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't even find this information here. But then here's what I did, right? Which I always do even now. I did a vision board when I started my doctorate
Mm,
Mm,
and said, where am I going and what do I want to do once I finish this doctorate? So, like I said, I like working with organizations, and I was
mm,
going to open my own consulting,
mm,
company. Right now, it's called Global Training and Consulting Services, right? I
okay.
went global and put global in there. I'm like, I'm going to travel the world. And
I'm worldwide.
What did the Gen Z say? Clock it,
Clock
clock it.
it.
Exactly. So I did
When
that,
young
right?
kids do that, I'm like,
Yes,
Mm,
I did that and wrote out my map of where I wanted to go and everything, right? And then I cut out a picture of myself and cut out a picture of the, doctorate hat that they have those hats.
okay,
And then I put myself in a gown,
down.
I took a student that had graduated with a doctorate, gown and then put my head there with the hat there. And I put that picture there. So every time I saw it there and I wrote Dr. Matlatini. So Dr. STEM, I branded it later on after I realized that, you know what, I want to get married, but I don't want, when I'm Dr. Matlatini now as my maiden name,
That
when I
change.
get married, then I have to change my name. So
Mm,
we're going to go with Dr. STEM because
mm,
then when I went into the nursing home and worked in there, the director of nurses is the one that gave me the name STEM because she
mm.
said, what is your name? I said, Stembile. She said, wait, slow down. What is your name? I said, Stembile. She said, Stembile. Okay, I'm going to call you STEM. So, how do you spell it? I said SITHE, but you can call me STEM, STEM. And she said, oh, that's it. Stembile. You are STEM, right? So I'm going to call you STEM. So even now with the government, they have it like in parenthesis, Stembile,
mhm,
parenthesis, STEM, because it's my AKA name. So I
mhm.
called myself Dr. STEM so that I never have to worry about my last name, changing my last name because then I'll always be Dr. STEM. And that's, for my first name that is
So
there.
smart.
Wow.
Yes,
I love
I am.
it.
Thinking ahead.
She's a
Yes.
doctor. She's
And
a
I like the vision
doctor.
I
board.
know.
I know. I like the vision board. I mean, a lot of people don't
I do.
do it, but I think it's a real thing. I think that vision board it has some kind of manifesting powers.
It, it,
Hmm.
it has. It
Mhm.
has. And manifestation is the word. Thank you for bringing it up because then here's the thing. I'm not being facetious when I say I came here to make money.
Mhm.
Mm,
I came here to make money so that I could help, back home. I came here to make money because I'm the firstborn of seven. And as the firstborn of seven, I didn't come to play and just get a degree so that, I can just live a good life over here. I remembered that I had people back home that I needed to take care of. So the vision was get educated, but get you some money. Right.
mm,
So, I mean, yes, we still take care of people at home, but I want to remind everybody that came from a home somewhere, beyond the United States. Take care of yourself first.
Well,
Take care of yourself first. Live
Hmm.
the life that you're building for the people that are back home, because
Mm.
it's sad right now. We have a lot of people that have worked for the 41, 30 something years, just pumping money at home, and you look at where they're sleeping and where they're living right now, the kind of car that they're driving right now, and it's like, what can I do, because I have to take care of people at home. Also
Hmm.
take care of you, because as I mentioned, it's only one life. Do something for yourself. Take some of that money and take care of yourself. Look around the house right now. Are you living in a comfortable, really house that you go, wow, I'm so glad and happy to come back home, because my home is a real home, because many people are not, living that kind of lifestyle where they take care of themselves.
That's true.
That's so true. That
Yeah.
is so true.
It makes
Yeah.
me remember of a lady I work with. She used to do that,
Yeah.
send, work crazy hours and send money back home. And then one day she decided to go back home. And she said, the people she used to send money, they're living better than she does.
Yes.
They are living better. She's like,
Yes.
they are cut off. So yeah, I agree. I agree. You have to take
Yeah.
care of yourself. You're working
Yes.
Yeah.
hard, make
Very
yourself
true.
happy.
Yeah.
Every paycheck, I do something nice for myself. I buy something that I want, go eat somewhere that I want because I know I work hard for it, you
Yeah.
know?
Very
Yeah.
Good
true.
for you. Because I know one of the questions that I read, on the podcast was, how do you take care of yourself? And, I love to travel.
Mm.
I go on cruises. I
Oh,
will do at
same.
least 2, 3 cruises a year. And
That's
I
great.
also,
Wow.
yes, ma'am. And just shut down everything and just go and
Mhm.
do, cruises. And then I love just visiting different states. So
Mm.
because I'm a motivational speaker, one of the things that I'm doing now that I have 3 new connections in in the
All
Carolinas,
over.
I am
Yay.
coming. So what I do is I coordinate with people that are in the different states, and we do a women empowerment conference, right? Or
Oh,
a workshop, and just bring in, but then I'm there live, and we get to have a room, and we get to really have workshops. So I'm coordinating with people around the United States, and that's
Mhm.
part of my self-care. But then I'm also bringing that energy into the room where we're seeing each other in person, and the ladies are seeing in
Mhm.
there, and we do, a workshop together. So I want to, coordinate that with the three of you, so that I can
yeah.
Oh,
come down and do that, over there as
I would
well.
love
That would be
that.
Yo,
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
nurse,
yeah.
nurse
I know
Stephanie
I'm
and
sitting
it's
here and I just want to
empowerment.
get,
I
I just want to
know.
get through the thing and touch her, hug
I
her.
know. Give a hug, right?
Like,
Yeah,
keep
so
talking, keep talking.
But that's a great
so
idea, though,
Yeah,
Like,
yes, it
uh,
is. It
definitely.
is.
I love that
Yeah.
empowerment and different ages too, because I know
Yes.
we forget there's a different buckets of the Gen Z millennials, and that'd be
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
And now that I'm back in Boston, I'm also doing my, parents and teen workshops and work as well. So, I'm telling, all of those in the different states that I also want to do, a teen one where we can do a teen empowerment, because the parents can come into the, group that we have for adults, and we can talk about life, and we can talk about different things. But, we certainly need to make sure that we can also get the teenagers in the room, and they can ask their questions, and we can
Yes.
share some information. I would love to do that. And, another self-care that I do as well, and I know you still have some questions, is I write books. So right now I'm at number
Mhm.
52
Wow.
Books?
books.
You wrote 52 books?
Yes, ma'am. I
Oh,
wrote
Wow.
okay.
52 books. They are inspiration and well, I'm 61. So I mean,
I mean, one every year or so when you get started.
there was a time that I got obsessed. The
Mm.
first book was The Power of Prayer and Belief. The
Mm,
second book was It's Time to Shift from Fear to Faith. And I started writing because I was working for the Department of Juvenile Justice in Florida. And
Mm.
I was one of their auditors that was going around the state auditing programs that were funded by juvenile justice to make sure that they're using the funds well, they're taking care of the kids that are in their programs well. And my manager um, did not think I was a good writer. So I would write my reports and everything, and like a kindergarten or a primary school kid, he would take and circle and write a better word and circle. I mean, so I
Oh,
was like
wow.
I was in school.
Yeah.
And then there was a time that I went with someone who was working in our office, and I said, you know what? Why don't you write this part for me and I will write that part there and let me see. And sure enough, it came in with the circle. She's like, oh, I did that program last year.
Mm.
And that's the report that I put in, and I didn't have no
Oh,
red circles and
wow.
everything. I
Wow.
said, I did
Wow.
that on purpose because then I knew that you did that.
Mm.
And we didn't see any changes in that, department where you looked at. It was the same as last year. So that's why I took you with me because you would take about, depending on the program, we would go at least three, four, five of us or something. And
Mm.
then, they put a lead. So I was the lead, went with her as one of my teams that I took, and I assigned her because I knew she had gone in there, right? And then she wrote her part.
They knew you.
They came in with this needs to be changed to that. She's like, what? I said, you see, it was me. So I started
Mm.
writing the power of prayer because only prayer was going to
Internet.
keep me
Oh.
there. And I knew that I need to write something. So I broke down the Serenity Prayer. It's a really neat book. I look back now, 50 something books later, and I'm like, oh wow.
The
It's a
internet is
really neat
excellent.
neat book. So, I mean, as I travel and come to the different places, I usually will pick a book or two that I bring in, as well in there that people can read. But those two books are really dear to my heart, especially for those that are still struggling to find their
Definitely.
way. Yeah,
Mm.
to uplift. Yeah. So it's time to shift and, the power of prayer. And then, there's one that you see that says thriving beyond the tears, bruised but not broken. I
Mm.
come from a home. My mom is the first wife that, polygamy, that is, so my dad became a polygamist and we didn't know how to deal with that. And then I realized that there were other children that you're
Mm.
from the first family, you're all that there is, but now there's a second and third families and fourth and
Mm.
whatever. And he's like, okay, where do I fit in and who am I? And what
Mm.
about my mom? So I wrote a book, on that thriving beyond the tears. Again, just analyzing, the way I grew up. That's my memo. And also how I have been able to, be strong enough again to take the baton and run this
Mm.
baton and not, blame or see how my parents, have lived their life because now
Mm.
it's all up to me. And it's just
Okay.
nice to be the president of your own life and,
I love that. I love that.
You know what?
So,
Mm.
sorry, go ahead,
Sorry,
Shiva.
I go through these emotions when we speak to guests, where I get frustrated and encouraged at the same time. I don't know how to deal with them. So many come and say somebody is trying to dim their light. Oh, they're doing this wrong, or you need to stop working here, or you think you're all of that. But then everybody comes back fighting back. Like,
Mm.
no, you're not going. It's so encouraging. But the number of times I hear it, though, we are
That it
hearing it,
happens to people, yeah.
that it happens to people.
Mm.
It's so frustrating. And these are the parts where I want us to highlight a lot, because if it's happening this often, people need to hear that they can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
They can't
Yes.
let somebody else take their power.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
They have
very
to
true.
encourage and empower you instead.
You're
That's
right.
very
And that's
true.
one of the things that I do. I literally have now been called the bounce back expert
Mm.
because what happens in life is we always have to bounce back and
Mm.
take charge and take responsibility, which means I started a conference during the pandemic, Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. And I hope that you ladies will come and join us in the Boston area this year. It's number 7 and we're doing it on November 7th. It's the 7th annual Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. I will send you invitations, would
Please
love to see
do.
you here. Yeah. So Bounce Back is about you again taking the baton and taking responsibility of your
Mm.
life. People are always going to be people. They will control you. They will discourage you. They will not see your vision, neither will they acknowledge your strength at times. So there's always not going to be people that are supportive and embracing you and everything, especially for those that are the chosen ones. And the
Mm.
chosen ones means there is something that God has in store that you're supposed to be doing. And what happens is before you see your light, other people are going to see your light. And yes, they want to dim that light. So instead of you looking at it as there are people that always want to dim my light, and there was, I want you to take the baton and stand tall and start seeing that there is something about me that they
Mm.
are seeing. There is some light about me that they are seeing, because yes, there is. And there's something about you that is making them just hate you for no reason, don't
Mm.
like you for no reason. I was talking to my sister this morning and I said, can you believe when we were working in the nursing home, people would give us their hardest assignments just because they're two sisters and we look alike. She's turning 60 this year and she looks even more dynamic, dynamite than myself, right? So we were looking back today and I said, Star, remember how people would just hate us just because? I said, but look at us now. She is a hairdresser, top notch hairdresser here in the Massachusetts area for
Oh,
over
wow.
25 years. She's been a hairdresser, but she owns a hair salon that now has, I think, 10 suites that she has with different hairdressers that are renting from her. And she has her suite where she only has one appointment a day, because when you come in to have your braids, or she makes custom wigs and you sit there and she makes your custom wig, it's just you and her for the whole day and nobody else. So you get to get your pampering and your everything. But I say to her, look at us now. We are living the life that we prayed for. We are also living the light that we didn't see where God was taking us. And now
Mm.
here we are. God has taken us somewhere and we're looking around and going, wow, did you see? Wow, did you see what God has done? So again, I want to encourage those that, are saying, my light is being dimmed. These people are hating me because
Mm.
they are hating the light
The
that is
light.
within you. Let your light shine. It's one of the books that I wrote.
Yeah.
Again, when I was struggling and I said, let your light shine, again, to encourage others to say, you know what? You've got to understand and believe that when
Mm.
God said, I know the plans that I have for you, he was not playing. And he said those plans are to prosper you, to make you happy, to make you have a good life. So
Mm.
remember that and not stay in that position where you think it's over. And I think I'm cursed. You're not cursed. You are
Mm.
loved and you're chosen. That choice of words, that twist will help you continue to see the light. It will
Mm.
also help you to continue to meet the right people that will guide you, protect you, and lead you into the right direction.
That is amazing.
Don't let
I
me
Oh,
love
that is
preach.
amazing. Dr. Stem, this has been so much fun. I
Mhm.
want to give you an opportunity to tell us. I know you've touched on a few things here and there. I want you to tell us what are you up to? What are your current businesses? What services are you offering?
Yeah.
Just tell us everything that you have going on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Remember when I said, when the lady said, the doctor at the orientation, and she says, if you want to make money, walk out the door because social work doesn't pay, it doesn't pay. That's the misconception that people have about social work, that, you know what, it doesn't pay and all you're going to do is, helping people that are in social need. So as a business person, I have a private practice mental health counseling services that I provide counseling services. Now I only do it virtual, and I also work with employee assistance, clients. I also have the global training, coaching, and consulting services where I provide wellness trainings and also leadership trainings in organizations. And
Mm.
my pride and joy that I restarted this year right here in the Boston area, we just re-registered it when I moved back, is Bounce Back Empowerment Services. Bounce Back Empowerment Services, as I mentioned, it's to help people to build that resilience. When we left our countries or when we are raised, right, there's a certain backbone that we have that just says, I gotta get back up again. But for
Yeah.
some reason, as we grow, we lose that backbone, we lose that courage, the inspiration to get back up. We just see it as hopeless and helpless. So in 2019, was it 2018? I think it was 7 years ago. I started the Bounce Back Empowerment, services, and Bounce Back Empowerment Conference because I knew that we needed to bounce back and we needed to believe that we will and we can. And yes, it's possible for us to bounce back, from any thing that comes our way, tragedies, any problems. And then pandemic came and hit us. And at that point, everybody was looking at death and saying, I think we're going to die. And we didn't know whether we were going to be alive. I found that as an opportunity for us to look at the light, to look at life and say, you know what, no matter what, we will bounce back. So for the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference and the Bounce Back, services, we say bounce back, yes, again. Bounce back, yes, I will. Bounce back, yes, 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 yes. I do have a bounce back boutique. I do have a bounce back boutique that has t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats that say bounce back, yes, I can. Bounce back, yes, I will. So what I'm doing right now is this year in November 7th, we are having our 7th annual Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. I am so excited because we're going to have it right here in Boston, and I'll be sharing with everyone once we have all the flyers and the registrations ready because it's number 7. I tell you, when I started, I never thought that we would be here at, the 7th annual. So 7 is a number for completion, which means we are starting to soar even higher with Bounce Back. The Empowerment Services is a nonprofit organization that is going to primarily focus on parenting teenagers because that's one of the most difficult, I think service that is needed, but that there's never enough of it. And I love that because then I also can support, the parents that grew up and were raised in my culture, in my tradition as a Zimbabwean. All of this stuff that you're asking us to do in this America is like, what? You mean I can just let him talk to me that way and then I just say yes? So we get to work on that and we get to empower and inspire, our children and also the parents in there. So the conference, the trainings and the ES, yes. And then I'm a motivational speaker. That's another thing that I love to do, to just come and talk to you guys. Yeah. So I will be sharing all the links, wherever you'll be seeing this, we're going to have all the links, for you there. We do have a membership, that is there, 2 membership programs that I have. One is My Best Life Tribe. Remember, I was telling you, ladies, that it's about, us living our best life and taking the baton. That program, My Best Life Tribe, is only for women because I realized that, financial freedom is something that we don't focus on, that we don't say. But then to work in a business, it gets to be lonely out there when you don't have other women saying, this is what I've done in my business and this is what I'm doing. And also having, some guidance in there. I've been in the business in the trenches now for over 20 years. I have a lot that I want to share, and there's a lot that you also have to share. So we have My Best Life Tribe. The focus is to make money and live our best life. That's one membership. The other membership is for parents of teenagers. I want to have them in a hub where they can know that they are not alone because you just work with them one-on-one. I saw a lot of them struggling with just wanting to be with other parents that are also saying, you're not alone, I'm there with you, but we can do it together. So those are some of the programs that I'm working on right now.
My goodness, I need both of those memberships.
You're gonna take lifetime membership.
I know, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I would love to have you there. Yeah. So all of that information will be on the website that we will be sharing. Yes.
Absolutely.
I can't
We will
believe we
share
talked
that
for an hour.
information.
Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that fun?
Oh.
Goes by fast,
Went
doesn't
by
it?
so fast
I
too.
cannot believe that we spoke for an hour.
And by the way, I could keep talking to you.
I know,
No,
yes,
I was
absolutely.
so
really
bad,
could.
as usual, my internet is acting up. At this point, I just feel like go to the store there and talk to them. You should see me. I was like, what? I'm yelling at everybody. I'm like, bring me my charger, bring me my phone.
Oh, when you left, yeah. So you can imagine, the clients that I work with, my coaches, we usually have an hour, when we're doing the one-on-ones. They're like, but I'm not done yet. I'm like, what do you mean you're not done yet?
Oh,
We're gonna
goodness.
talk next week.
I need more time.
Yeah. I might come looking for you, Dr. Stem. I can talk to you all day
I
long.
know.
I know.
I'm telling you.
I
So
love when I
encouraging.
yeah. Sorry, Shira, go ahead.
No, that's I was saying it's you're so encouraging.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
Now,
you.
I was saying, I love when I see people walking their purpose. Like you're definitely doing what you're supposed to be doing.
which is
You know,
Thank you. You
exactly.
see the joy, and I mean, there's no time. I could talk forever
I
with you.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
this. I love this. It's
Yeah.
it's it's really been a blessing and an honor. And to
Mm.
get to an age where you say I'm celebrating 60 years and you say, have I done what I'm supposed to do? And the answer is yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blessed and honored to do what I do and also to work with the people that I work with. And my joy is hearing somebody coming back and saying, "Oh, I could hear your voice and I was doing this." Yeah, I could just hear your voice. What did you do this week? Are you stressing again? Did you rest? What did you do for your business? What goals did you work with? I can just hear you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta do something because I can hear Dr. Sim asking me that question, Yeah. So yeah, so your success, is my number one goal to see people being successful, taking care of themselves
Mm.
mindfully, business-wise, healthy, families, marriages, just keeping it
Mm-hmm.
together. It brings me joy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you so,
was so much fun. We
so
we had
good.
so much fun with you. We will have to have you back again another time and tell
I
us what you're
know.
up to.
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, we're going to be planning to come to the Carolinas. I will come and do some workshops there. And
Yeah.
then I also would love to see as many of you at the conference in November because, again,
Mhm.
it's motivation, inspiration, encouragement. That's all we do. So
Yeah.
thank you again for having me today.
That's amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Thank you
guys.
so much, Dr.
Appreciate you
Stem.
guys. Thank you.
English teacher from back home
Yeah,
or a
it
real
was a
person
Congolese
that
guy.
speak English?
There was a
Because you've
Congolese
had some
guy that was
people.
there to teach English, and
Oh,
so yeah, he probably didn't know
yeah.
English that well
I know.
either.
That's what I say.
What languages did you speak before
So
you learned English?
so I do remember I knew Lingala, French, and then Lontomba I knew a little bit, and English came later on, and then I
Mm.
forgot everything but English and a little bit of Lingala.
And your dad spoke French?
No, he never spoke French, but
Mm.
all the schools that we went to, so we had to go to Belgium, private schools, and they were all taught in French, Belgian French, which is completely different than the French they speak in France, and so that made it difficult when I moved here because there were certain words that were acceptable in Belgian French
Mhm.
that the French were like, that sounds not acceptable, and so.
Hmm.